शान्ति ब्रह्मा शान्ति सर्वः शान्ति शान्तिरेव शान्ति सामा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
So good morning and good evening. Welcome to Sri Aurobindo and Mother Study Circle, where we are studying the Looking from Within compilation by Dr. A.S. Dalal. Just taking another moment to settle ourselves, to ingather ourselves with the help of our breathing and the Shanti mantra.
शान्ति रोषध्ये शान्ति वनस्पते शान्ति विश्वे देवा शान्ति ब्रह्मा शान्ति सर्वः शान्ति शान्तिरेव शान्ति सामा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
Yes, thank you. So we are on chapter 2. We have done 2 sessions on chapter 2. Today is our third, and the title of chapter 2 from this compilation, Looking from Within, is looking at oneself and others. Yes, I apologize for that interruption. So we started looking at oneself and others, chapter 2 of this compilation. We have covered discovering a hidden treasure, and today we are taking the passages on turning to the coming light. So if anybody has the capacity, they can read this for us. It's a small passage. Otherwise, I'll go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Turning to the coming light, it is necessary to observe and know the wrong movements in you. for they are the source of your trouble and have to be persistently rejected if you're to be free. But do not be always thinking of your defects and wrong movements. Concentrate more upon what you're to be, on the ideal, with the faith that since it is the goal before you, it must and will come. To be always observing false and wrong movements brings depression and discourages the faith. Turn your eyes more to the coming light and less to any immediate darkness. Faith, cheerfulness, confidence in the ultimate victory are the things that help. They may make the progress easier and swifter. Shri Aurobindo.
Yeah, thank you, Deepa. I have a question. Why are we not able to naturally do it? Why are we naturally not able to focus on the light or what I want to become? Or if I say, the world is a beautiful, happy place, why does something in us says, really? Are you sure? I mean, why do we get more towards the discouragement or how it is rather than how it also is, but I can't see it or I don't want to believe it? What is the reason if something is coming to us? Yeah. Yes, Deepa.
I don't know about situations, but I've seen that there was this phase in my life where I think it still sometimes comes to me because it's a habit pattern. But when it comes to people, like let's say I've interacted with somebody, and then when I come home and I recount the incident, or I'm like again going through that thing in my mind, I realize that I'm so gravitating towards finding faults, looking at the negatives. And there'll be quite a few things that are good as well, right? But I would rather think about, oh, she spoke like this, or she is like this, or she didn't do this, and those kind of stuff. And and it can be somebody very close to me, also a friend, and still like the natural attention and the natural pattern of thinking gravitates towards the negatives. And somewhere, sometime at the end of all of those discussions, I end up feeling guilty. But that's just how the mind automatically is going towards that direction. Um, it's a lot of conscious effort now for me to not go through that. I feel like it's an entertainment in my mind, is what I thought. Like it keeps me occupied. It's a faulty way of keeping thoughts in, and you call it drama entertainment. I'm not sure, but it's a habit pattern that for me it's a very conscious effort now. It's very effortful. It doesn't come easily to not go along that path.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. It's like, say, I was traveling overnight in a bus, and in the morning you asked me how was it? Was it comfortable and all? And my one answer could be yes, everything was good. And the second answer could be that, oh no, the lady sitting next to me, what was she doing and what was she wearing? That, oh my God. So, what is more captivating and gripping, right? The sensational. I don't know for you, Deepa, because you've been out for a long time, but there was this stage in India I observed that there was a state when the serials, in especially when we had, just DD and DD Metro and stuff, there was some groundedness, some simplicity in the serials that were shown in those things. And then came the drama mode, Cornolika, I don't know, there was Jab Saas Bhi Bahu Thi, all those, like things came that one thing happened and then there is this background tune and they'll show each and every person's face, reaction. She's commenting on her, he's commenting on her, and suddenly those serials took us with a rage. I mean, they got so popular that people got so addicted that it's like crazy. But there's something in me which grasps at drama, right? And the negative appears more drastic, right? So right now, if there's a scandal happening of, say, I don't know, I don't want to take names, and there is a sage who's preaching, who's like very simple and sober and not much movement, majority would gather to the scandal, right? There's something about scandal and sensational thing that grips us because it's very juicy, and which is okay if we get gripped by juicy. But then the question is my accountability for myself, right? I cannot keep saying that I want simple, I want light, I want simple things, and I keep gravitating towards the juicy. So one thing is that accountability, which you so beautifully said that now it's a conscious effort. And second, when we were discussing the passage, it feels that, reason keeps me away from believing it's a good world, because somewhere everything that is thrown at me with news, with people, with anything is mostly negative, right? And the world is not really that bad of a place, but somewhere in the news and media, it's made to be, because the negative is emphasized. The negative is really blown out of proportion because it catches our eyes. Yeah, just give me 1 second. Yeah, my apologies for that. Yeah, I was saying that reason is something that keeps me away from believing it's a good world. Everything is going according to its plan, or everything is going towards a positive, because it appears that I have so much evidence to believe otherwise. It's practical to think that, yes, this is happening and that is happening. And it's practical or easier or more intelligent to forget that I'm being taken care of. So just, I wanted to make a small point, but I've really dragged it. My apologies. So turning to the coming light. It is necessary to observe and know the wrong movements in you, for they are the source of your trouble and have to be persistently rejected if you are to be free. So, Deepa, exactly what you were sharing, right? This is what the first line is saying, that if you want to be free of the ill will, of going to the negative, discussing the negative, and what it does to you after it's all said and done. If you want to be free of that, then it's a conscious effort of persistently choosing what one wants to say, think, be. But do not be always thinking of your defects and wrong movements. So, yesterday we were talking about how one should accept the criticism and move forward. But here now he is warning, and this is what, you again, Deepa had brought up yesterday, that what if we just keep getting criticized? How do we do it? So he's answering, but do not be always thinking of your defects and wrong movements. Concentrate more upon what you are to be, on the ideal, with the faith that since it is the goal before you, it must and will come. So, it depends on me what I want to believe. It sounds illogical that this is the truth, this is where the world is. How can I believe this or that? But really, there's so much good happening and there is so much bad happening. And it depends on me. And whatever I believe in, I'll invite more of that in my life. I will increase that in the world with my belief and faith. Mother says that imagination is also a reality on a different realm. So even if it feels imagination that, oh, I'm thinking the world is a beautiful place, I would want to believe that rather than, it's going to hell or whatever. It's reminding me of that aphorism of Sri Aurobindo where he says that when we move beyond knowings, then we shall have knowledge. Reason was the helper. Reason is the bar. So I see around me, in me many a time, how reason always tries to limit my understanding, my expansion, my scope, and how I can be bigger than reason. I am bigger than reason. We approach life so reasonably. And yet, if we look at our conversations, the big things when we are sharing, it's like either it's like, I don't know how that happened. Oh my God, it was amazing. Or I don't know, सब कुछ तो ठीक चल रहा था. Within a second, the life changed. So there's not much reasoning in the big events, at least when I look at my life. And yet we don't want to leave reason, because it appears to be the best tool that I have. But it doesn't have to be if I can see more, if I can see beyond the reason. I must give that beyond the reason more chance and scope. Yeah, inviting reflections always, of course. And just finishing this, to be always observing faults and wrong movements brings depression and discourages the faith. Turn your eyes more to the coming light and less to any immediate darkness. Faith, I'm sorry, faith, cheerfulness, confidence in the ultimate victory are the things that help. They make the progress easier and swifter. Again, yesterday he had ended with this being highlighted, right? That but learn to welcome criticism and the pointing out of imperfections. The more you do so, the more rapidly you will advance, right? So the stress is not that you be what you are, you be comfortable, you be more of what you think yourself to be. What is the main thing? Advancement of my being. So here too he's ending with this, that this makes the progress easier and swifter. He's not saying this is practical, he's not saying this is reasonable, he's not saying this is more right, but he's saying that if you want to progress and progress faster and easily, if you focus, he's not saying don't see the darkness, but don't dwell on it. Look at the mistake and move towards the correction. Look at the error and with grace move towards where one can go. So if I always observe what's bad in me, I'll keep sticking in the bad. So first I'm doing bad, then I'm feeling guilty and being with the bad, then I start feeling victimized, and then I'm again with the bad. Something happens to me, somebody does something to me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is happening to me. Then I move ahead, I leave, I break those ties. And then for years and years and years, I keep talking that, this person did this to me, or this happened to me in my life. So although now I have moved away from that, I'm still there because that's all I can think about, talk about. So if that, it's called dukh ras, if I have enough juice from the darkness and pain and my suffering, I now can turn my eyes more to the coming light. That yes, it's happened, but what's ahead? And less to any immediate darkness. Faith, cheerfulness, confidence in the ultimate victory are the things that help. They make the process easier and swifter. And I think this is why Mother, I think in all her prayers almost, she says that, this, but I know thy victory is certain, thy victory is certain, thy victory is certain. And, I also remember reading, when she was saying when we write and with stories and everything, she had said that it's really important that we end with a positive note. We end with the high note because that is where we want to be. Just saying the practical, saying the reasonable is good, but the ordinary mind can do it. But you who knows that, yes, my end is the best, must direct everything towards that light and positivity. I think it's really important to remember that. Yeah. So this was turning to the coming light, and this passage was from Sri Aurobindo. So it's quite simple. It's just, we know so much, but how much of it are we putting in practice? That's the main thing. So, I'm rereading that book, Cave in the Snow by Jetsunmala Tenzin Pamo. And in that, she meets, some yogis in Dalhousie, and I don't know what all they are doing. And, one of them sits her down and says that the only difference between me, between a yogi and the others is, I mean, we all know what's right. We all know what to do, but the only difference is I'm practicing and you're not. In my mind, a yogi is somebody who's just sitting and, light is emanating from their being. I make it holier than thou. I don't know what's with me and this phrase. But it's really between knowing what should be done and then doing it. That makes all the difference. So it's a reminder that we need and we must have. Yeah, if there's anything on this passage, we can take it up. Otherwise, we can go to the next one on the same topic and again by Sri Aurobindo. Yeah, Saraswati ji, you had unmuted last time to read. Would you please read for us now this passage?
Okay. One must not be distressed or depressed by perceiving the weaknesses inherent in human nature and the difficulty of getting them out. The difficulty is natural, for they have been there for thousands of lives and are the very nature of man's vital and mental ignorance. It is not surprising that they should have a power to stick and take time to disappear. But there is a true being and a true consciousness that is there in us, hidden by the surface formations of nature, and which can shake them off once it emerges. By taking the right attitude of selfless devotion within and persisting in it, in spite of the surface nature's troublesome self-repetitions, one enables this inner being and consciousness to emerge, and with the mother's force working in it, deliver the being from all return of the movements of the old nature. Sure, Aurobindo.
Yes, thank you so much. He's saying there is this inherent weakness in human nature and the difficulty of getting them out. It's difficult to get these inherent weaknesses out of us. But one must not be distressed or depressed by perceiving the weakness inherent in human nature and the difficulty of getting them out. You know, it's reminding me, I've shared this video before, I think in Circle of Harmony and here, that video of the talk of Acharya Prashant, which titles, you know, हारोगे तुम बार बार, but पर कोई हार आखरी ना हो. The way things are, the way I am made, the way how he says, you know, ये मिट्टी ही खराब है जिसके हम बने हुए हैं. They will win over us, but we don't have to accept defeat because hit we will, fall we will, but हारोगे तुम बार बार, कोई हार आखरी ना हो. So one must not be distressed or depressed by perceiving the weakness inherent in human nature and the difficulty of getting them out. Because yes, there are weaknesses. Yes, there are ill wills. Yes, there are errors upon errors and errors that I do without even realizing I'm doing an error. I could be helping someone out. I could be making the blow soft. But boy, what I am doing, I have no clue till it's revealed to me. But the issue is that if I dwell on it, I give it more strength. I give it more light. It increases. But if I dwell on what I can be, then that aspect increases. If I believe in the devil in me, the devil increases. If I believe in the God in me, the God energy, the God power in me increases. It might not sound logical because it says, how can I say this? I can see this in me. So very good. We are very intelligent. But there are things beyond intelligence is what we are talking about. I know I've said this before, but I find it very beautiful, you know, in the story Peter Pan. You know, how the fairies, they stop losing power, if we remember that. And then you know, somebody reminds, maybe Peter Pan reminds everybody when they're stuck that we need fairies, that I believe in fairies. And they all, you know, all the children start chanting that, oh, we believe in fairies, we believe in fairies, we believe in fairies. And suddenly, by that thought, by that faith, fairies around them start getting the power and they start helping them. They come with their fairy dust and their chains are broken and they take the children away. So it sounds like, oh, it's a kiddie story. That's not true. But no, it's not a kiddie story. And yes, it is true. And yes, I can and I must believe in it if I want to take me up from the mud that I sit with, my practical, reasonable, logical mud. If I've had enough of wallowing in it, I too can say I believe in fairies, and I will, the fairy dust will be sprayed on me, and I will be given wings to fly. For sure. So the difficulty is natural, for they have been there for thousands of lives and are the very nature of man's vital and mental ignorance. So that's what it is. It's based on my vital and mental ignorance. It is not surprising that they should have a power to stick and take time to disappear. He says, don't get surprised it's taking long, because a lot of times it's frustrating. Because something in me feels I'm so intelligent that if I've seen something in me, truly, it should just disappear, and it does not. It keeps coming back. So what we were saying in the beginning, what, Deepa, you shared about that conscious effort, conscious choice, conscious rejection of the lower nature, of the juices that we are used to. So it's not surprising that they have a power to stick and take time to disappear. But there is a true being and a true consciousness that is there in us, hidden by the surface formations of nature, and which can shake them off once it emerges. So anytime I see the weakness in me, the desires in me, the wrong movements in me, I can remember that I have that true being. I can remember I have that true consciousness, the true power, the grace. It's in me, which can shake these formations of nature off. But I have to believe in them. I have to give them power by my faith. So by taking the right attitude of selfless devotion within, selfless devotion. A devotion, sadly, is not selfless. And it's a constant, again, a conscious effort to keep connecting with the center, what we were discussing in the end yesterday on Jagan's question. By the right attitude. So by taking the right attitude of selfless devotion within and persisting in it, in spite of the surface nature's troublesome self-repetitions, one enables this inner being and consciousness to emerge, and with the mother's force working in it, deliver the being from all return of the movement of the old nature. I'll reread this. By taking the right attitude of selfless devotion within and persisting in it in spite of the surface nature's troublesome self-repetitions, one enables this inner being and consciousness to emerge, and with the mother's force working in it, deliver the being from all return of the movement of the old nature. So just expanding on it, when I take the right attitude of selfless devotion that no matter what, I am bowed down, I want to progress, I believe, I aspire. So when I'm taking the right attitude and persisting in it, the problem is not that we don't know what's right, what we were discussing by Jetsunmala's example, but we don't persist in it. We give it up too easily. Oh, I tried, it didn't happen. So by taking the right attitude and persisting in it, in spite of the surface nature's troublesome self-repetitions, these things, these movements, these dwindlings, they are there to make us stronger, right? The carrots keep dangling on my face so that I know I don't have to reach out, because I know the last 100 times that I have reached to another carrot, how I have caused suffering and I have suffered. So, in spite of the surface nature's troublesome self repetitions, one enables this inner being, the inner being present in me, which is there to help me, and consciousness, that higher consciousness to emerge. And because that higher consciousness has the mother's force working in it, deliver the being, that force, that consciousness helps me deliver the being from all the return of the movement of the old nature. You know how we share in Buddha's story about anger, when somebody said something like horrible, horrible, horrible to him, and he said nothing. And he said, why are you not angry? And he said, the seed of anger does not live in me anymore. The mother, we had read it in a passage in the sunlit path when she says that, yes, you would make mistakes, you would fall 100,000 times. But every time, just when you fall, get up, brush, off the dust, look up, smile, and take another step. And you might fall again. But then again, get up, brush the dust, look up, and smile and move ahead. So, this is the way to transcend the smallness of what I'm told I am. This is the way to transcend, to believe in miracles rather than the ground realities, so-called ground realities, practical realities of my life, because the ground realities, they limit me and they keep me stuck to the small. But if now I want to go towards the big, the faith, the certitude, the devotion has to be given more energy, more light, so that I can move from the small to the big, and I can be more than nature. I keep saying, but it's natural. After all, I'm a human being. It's natural for me to feel this, but no, you are not the human being only. You're also the soul, the Atman, which has this mother's force, this higher consciousness. So, yes, we can beat that. Yes, we can transcend that. It takes time, but we can. So, a faith in that is important. Yeah, so Jagan is joining us from outer space. And Jagan, yes, please.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, all. This the last paragraph no, from in Savitri Canto 3, there is this experience. No, it's saying about how Ashupati's consciousness, first goes to the heavenlier states, the large poised upliftings, and then it only lives there for a short period of time, and then the the old habits or you know the line, exact line. It says, an old pull of subconscious chords renews. How the old habits pull it down, especially when still on the surface level.
Can you repeat the line? It wasn't clear when you said it. I'll pull it up.
Yes, ma'am. It's the line is, an old pull of subconscious chords renews. Dhawan goes on to, like, in the English of Savitri, she's explaining how Ashwapati's consciousness is new to this to this higher state, yet it can only stay there for a limited time. And then these lines also support that context about how the subconscious or the inconscient is tied with with ropes, and when it tries to move up, the ropes renew their old habit of pulling it down again. But after reading that, I thought, okay, so what is this? And then she goes on to say that Sri Aurobindo has not said this in a negative sense, said it in a positive way, because the next two lines, this too the supreme diplomat can use. He makes our fall a means for greater rights. There is a very beautiful painting on this. I wish I could just tell you exactly what it says, but the fall is actually good. That's what he's saying. And from the passage that you shared, while still being on the surface level, I'll just take one subject. Let's say patience. Patience. Um, I want to be patient, and yet this is a very new thing for me. If I'm practicing it for the first time, so innerly I want to be patient, but on the surface level, there are things that really irk me, that really take me away from what's happened to my background.
No, your background is there. You can hear.
Okay, I'm seeing space in my back.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
now
why I said you're joining us from outer space.
oh, I didn't notice this. Okay, that's good. So
Jagan, I thought you went along with the Chandrayaan.
I really didn't notice that. Oh wow. Okay. So yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, while the surface level sticks for a while until the practice increases, and then I you know try go more and more deeper within me. But while the surface level is kind of hurting me by making me repeat my own old habits, these lines by Sri Aurobindo say that they are also for good, because they also show that that room of correction. Either I can say that, oh God, I was patient for 9 months, and now in a snap, because of this person, I lost all my patience. I can say that, thank God, I am able to see that there is still room in for correction, and there is still room for growth, and I can take that, and I can rise much higher. So yeah, so that's all I wanted to say.
Yes, Shagan. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those lines. It's always so beautiful to read the way Sri Aurobindo puts things in Savitri. My faith is really tested, I feel, our faith. How badly do I want it? Without that, it's not given, because knowledge cannot go in wrong hands. Knowledge cannot go, must not go to the weak, to the, I don't know, the one who still has influence, gets influenced by desires and the bigness of things. And, there's this book, and there was a movie on it, the Da Vinci Code, in which they say that how in Bible the whole magic of how one can transcend is hidden in the verses, in the lines, but they are hidden because it cannot be given to somebody who's not ready. So I think by these beatings, by feeling the pain again and again and again and again, when I am beaten and I'm like, I don't want this pain anymore. So first of all, my certitude increases, that my will increases, that yes, ये तो नहीं चाहिए, ये नहीं पता क्या चाहिए, but ये नहीं चाहिए पता चल गया है. So that keeps increasing. So that increases, expands something in me. Because I come from, oh, I'm just a human being. This is natural. To say, by natural or not, but too much pain. No, don't want it. So that increases my strength, my will. So that is there for sure. And because I really need pain to transcend things, because like, how we say God's tail, Vivekananda's famous line, that without that, I don't get up. And this reminds me of, the Buddha's documentary that I had shared before, that I had seen, that when it's time, when he's there under the tree, I don't know for how many years he was under that tree. So when he was under that tree, finally, in the end, how much of desires and riddhis and siddhis were thrown at me. That, get up, see here, take this, you'll fly anywhere you want. Do this magic, take this magic. And if I still am weak, it's so attractive, those magic tricks, those oh wowness in me. But if I have had enough beatings, until those seeds of yes, I grasp, that will complete me, I won't be able to reach the last step. So that I can do after, I don't know, 21 years of sitting under the Bodhi tree. I can get attracted and then lose it, or let me be beaten right now so that I can become pure gold. As Mother says, that I don't want too many people, I just want a handful who can turn to pure gold, and that is enough to convert the world. That's not her line, but I just am paraphrasing. Yeah. And again, on this note, there is this beautiful but very hard to keep reading book called, at least in my opinion, called God Speaks. It's by a mystic known as Meher Baba, and it talks about, the different realms, the different transitions, and how the soul evolves from the plant to the minerals to the animal to the bird. It talks in details about these realms and how it has happened and how it's going, and how when one is ready, how one transcends in consciousness. And in that, I remember reading one line, more than one on this, which said that it talked about a very higher state. That, okay, if there are seven, first of all, you have from the stone to the plant to the I don't know, stone, mineral, plant, bird, animal, mammal, human, Superman, kind of, like when you're ready to, when you've reached that high, in that high state, then again, they talk about seven different levels of transitions. And it had a line that in none of these transitions, which takes, I don't know, centuries on century for the soul, can you come back. You always go ahead, you always go ahead. But in that, there was this thing, almost a clause, that in that highest state, the fifth highest state, when you have transcended so much, when you have all the power, in that, if you slip, like if say I can right now, make this room fly, and out of just sheer pleasure, I start doing that. Or if I can make the dead alive, if it's needed, I do this. But if I do it so that I can show the world that, see, what an amazing being I am, then they say that from that level of, I don't know, centuries of transcend, I go back to the stone. So, that line, that Superman, that with great power comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, thank you, Jaggu. So with great power comes great responsibility. I guess that's very true, that imagine that all is forgiven, all is forgiven, all is forgiven, and then you are trusted and you're given something and you flaunt it. And then it's like, acha, nahi, you don't deserve it. Go back, become a stone, and start again. You didn't learn your lesson. So yahan pe again, the clever in me, the clever person in me can say, Sri Aurobindo is saying, by your fallings, by your stumblings, the world is perfected. So let me fall. This is very important. But yes, I will fall. उसमें मुझे effort नहीं करना, गिर तो मैं खुद जाता ही हूँ. बट उठने के लिए मुझे जो बार बार एफर्ट करना है, मेरा फोकस वहां पे होना चाहिए. एंड आई शुड नॉट टेक दिस ऑल्सो एज क्लेवरनेस कि वो ही सेड I'll fall and the old will grip me. Yes, he said that's the natural thing that happened. And he also said, how in this line what Jagan was pointing out, that this too is used for a greater rise. So again, the focus is not on the fall, the focus is on the greater light. Yeah. Okay. So I think we have done this passage now. So we have taken up two passages from this turning to the coming light, very reflective and enough for us to maybe take some points to make a little bit of change in our practical life, to see what I am clinging to, the darkness or the light. My old attitude that oh मैं फिर गिर गया, और अरे मैं फिर गिर गया, मुझे फिर खड़े होना है. And that takes time. I have to fight against myself, which is saying that, oh, you're good for nothing. Oh, this is bad, this is bad. So, yeah. So, I guess that's where we'll end. But I just would like to read this again before we end. We do have 3 minutes before the hour ends. If anybody wants to just reread it slowly for us, then we'll end the session. And of course, if there's any reflection, it's always welcome.
Ma'am, read from those highlighted lines.
No, just read the full thing. One must not be.
Okay.
Thank you.
One must not be distressed or depressed by perceiving the weakness inherent in human nature and the difficulty of getting them out. The difficulty is natural, for they have been there for thousands of lives and are the very nature of man's vital and mental ignorance. It is not surprising that they should have a power to stick and take time to disappear. But there is a true being and a true consciousness that is there in us, hidden by the surface formations of nature and which can shake them off once it emerges. By taking the right attitude of selfless devotion within and persisting in it in spite of the surface nature's troublesome self repetitions, one enables this inner being and consciousness to emerge and, with the mother's force, working in it, deliver the being from all return of the movements of the old nature. Sri Aurobindo.
Thank you. Any comments, reflections, questions before we end? Okay. So we'll end the session here. May I have the grace, the blessing to believe in the mother's force. May it be as real to me as anything in front of me that I'm seeing, touching, feeling. May I know her love as I feel, I don't know, love for my child, for my friends, for my siblings, my parents. May I feel it with so much certainty, and it becomes a full reality to me and for others. Because with that as my rock, I can really, really, really aspire to transcend mountains. So aspiring for more faith, for more love, for more receptivity, for more suppleness, for a bigger heart, for greater strength, for myself and for everyone. So that no matter how fairy tale like it sounds, but so that we can make this a better world for myself and for the world. So aspiring to be one drop of poison less. And that would be a big contribution to the overall consciousness. So sharing the merit, if any, from all my actions, my activities, this session, with all beings. We all rise together, else we all fall. Remembering this, so with the bowed head, thanking Mother and Grace and Divine for the opportunity to know this, for these pointers of practice that I must practice, at least aspire to practice so that change can begin and get more and more power within and around me. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.